he not only misses a shot, but also got headshotted by a human.
She's totally right. I didn't even pay attention. Bro have no hands. Think about that. This is an aura loss. Look at you getting called out and shit. So you're all brain and stuff, but you obviously ain't hot shit in the streets. That's for sure. You're supposed to be the grand architect. You're supposed to have hella hands. So, Lahai-Roi, we left that chapter behind. It was a decent chapter. I'd say the Linné and Mornier part kind of sucked because they tried. There was an attempt. I think we can all safely say there was an attempt at doing stories a little different, but they've reverted back since after seeing the response from the community because yeah, that was more of an ad for the characters more than actual story and world building and stuff like that. And Lahai-Roi, ever since I think 3.0, has picked up to be a decent story, especially with Amieth and everything. We get to become a Gundam and fight in space. That's some pretty cool stuff if you ask me. Like, I don't know about you, but that was pretty amazing. And we bid Lahai-Roi farewell with the Lucilla stuff at the end. You know, it was a good wrap up in my opinion. And we moved on to Mengzhou, which a lot of people are criticizing because of the optimization issues and people saying that there's some Deus Ex Machinas, etc. Just trying to find fault with not only the story, but also the new optimization, which I think are the majority of people that are criticizing Wuthering Waves after the 3.5 patch, which is fair criticism because why would I care about the story when the game in itself as a program in my device isn't doing the best? That's just pretty problematic. Now, I've never heard of, besides the 3.0 part of Lahai-Roi's story, that Lahai-Roi was bad. Until now. Go over here, we have a video literally simply called Lahai-Roi Sucks. That's it. It just show me a simpler title. They just went Lahai-Roi Sucks. You do with that as you please. But one must admit, the curiosity is super high with something like this. I've never heard of much criticism towards Lahai-Roi. This is why I think this is a pretty good conversation to have. So without further ado, let's get active. If you enjoy this type of content, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell to not miss any updates.
Guess I better go subscribe to VXV Gotcha.
Let me preface this video with saying that I love Wuthering Waves. It's an amazing game. And that's why it hurts that this last region was—
You gotta give this disclaimer, don't you, chat? You gotta give this disclaimer. You got to. It's important. You can't just say, Lahai-Roi is annoying to me. No, you must give a very important disclaimer where you go, oh, well, I love this, but I'm criticizing it out of love. Not because I'm just this random op. Because of tribalism. Because people like to use these gacha games that sell anime girls to grandstand on people online. Yeah, they might think you're doing the same thing they're doing, which means like you're gonna put them down. They don't get to get their dose of validation. That's a big no-no.
Hello, welcome everyone. This is not a hate video on the whole game. Just Lahai-Roi. This rant was boiling inside my head since like half a year now. But since Lahai-Roi—
Damn, imagine sitting there with a huge ass rant on Lahai-Roi for 6 months. Like, what stopped you all this time?
I don't have to wait and hope that it will get better, since it can't, cause it ended. So
yeah, that's over.
That debuted on December 25 as part of version 3.0 updates. But we're not gonna start conversation with version 3.0. Instead, let's start with the beginning of problems, in my opinion. Konami City released in patch 2.8. Prequel of sorts to Lahai-Roi main story. A bit of reminder—
Oh yeah, this is the part where Chisa, right? The 2.8. That was the Chisa, the Chisa zone, if I'm not mistaken.
Forgotten. Konami City was a major urban center
Yikes.
formerly belonging to nation of Ashinohara. It was destroyed by element, becoming trapped inside a warp sonarosphere. During our explanation of Konami City, we meet Chisa, also called by the community a potential woman.
A potential woman? Well, hold on. I think this is very accurate because whoever got Chisa at the time was clowned on, like myself. But now, I mean, I get to act like this was my plan all along. This was all planned. You just didn't know because I'm him and you're just not him. Yeah.
She was stuck inside Konami for 2 months of her time and about 20 years of the real time. Before that, she was a student at Lahai-Roi. 2.8 story ended with clear line of continuation for her. We were supposed to go to Lahai-Roi together, and she would finally have a chance to reunite with her parents.
I think I already see what she's setting up. Like, they did Chisa wrong in Lahai-Roi, man. They did her so wrong. They made her this background character. It's not even funny. It's not even funny how much of a background character they made her to be. Remember when Life Lessons said that Chisa is Hiyuki's daughter? That would have been a cool plot. That would have been a damn good plot. Damn shame they didn't do it.
Struggled to adapt to a new reality after 20 years, right? Right? Of course, as you might expect or knew, it didn't happen. During her story and banner, the story was focused on her a lot, which isn't really a problem since she was the only other person stuck inside Konami beside us.
Yes.
The problem is that it became sort of a trend that when character is released, they get a lot of attention during their patch quest.
Yeah, this is what she's talking about. Is exactly what I said at the start. They really did this 3.0 freaking attempt at like really making this the main story quest, which is what they know a lot of players are looking forward to actually play, really more focused a lot on the banner characters. So that way it feels more like an ad more than actually, well, it's just that, you know, the character is obviously going to be more present because it's their time. And also they do that on purpose because it's, yeah, okay. Maybe I'm not making the best sense here, but what I'm trying to say is the dosage in the exposure of the character that's on the banner have to be a good dosage where it doesn't feel annoying to the point where people might think it's an ad. They have to do it at good, precise dosages so that it hits right.
And then the banner ends and their story gets sidelined regardless of if their story is finished or not. 3.0 patch could have and probably should have easily include Chisa's story conclusion, since like I said, we were going back to her home. The first thing the story did was to separate us. Chisa in 3.0 got one optional dialogue in which she talks about reuniting with her parents off-screen.
And this is what pissed a lot of people off. It felt like, all right, Chisa, you're not on the banner anymore. Go away. It's time for these baddies now. And that just comes off very wrong. It just rubs people the wrong way.
I'm not mad that we got separated. I'm mad that her development was done off-screen. And you know how fun it would have been if instead of exploring the school with only Linnae, we would explore it with both Chisa and Linnae?
I know.
One could give us perspective from the past, another from nowadays.
Yeah, well, they're afraid she might mog her, which could get in the way of more banner sales. Yeah, it's just... It's all business, isn't it? Jesus Christ. If anything, what I liked about Sigrika is that they included the whole cast in her story. And Denny as well, I think. It was super nice. It was super, super nice. They learned from this mistake. We got to realize that this has since been fixed. We are talking about a problem that used to be there, but I think has since been fixed. Correct me if I'm wrong, Shaq, because I think for me personally, as I played the game later, Sigrika, Denia especially, I would even say the Cyberpunk collab, I think they did a good job at like including everybody, even if their banner isn't up or anything. They made the world feel more alive. Also Lucilla, oh my god, everybody pulled up in the Lucilla thingy.
Interacting for once. This would have actually been a great groundwork for their future friendship that I will talk about in a second. But the most outrageous part of the 3.0 story quest was when some worm attacked school and yet only us with Linnae were fighting with it. Chisa, who we had established...
She makes a good point here. I forgot about that. I totally forgot about that. Why didn't Chisa pull up? You know, the warrior who was literally in a different dimension alone. She's like this lone badass. Why isn't she pulling up? Right, she might mog Linnae, of course.
Last quest is a skilled fighter couldn't have helped us. We can even see her knowing about the danger. Same with Luke that we can also see being near. The dude who later landed a clean shot on the Grand Architect was doing nothing. And I love Luke, but all the teachers did shit. Where is Lucilla? Where is Marnie?
Well, their banners isn't up yet. That's it. To answer your question, where's the banners? No banners? Well, no character in the story. I think power scaling also is important conversation to have if we're going to talk about this stuff. For example, say Hayuki was around. Linnae is by far obviously going to be way weaker than Hayuki, hands down. Like, certain characters can't be next to another character in the story, especially when it comes to combat. I'm going to go ahead and say it. At the end of Septimont, when the Renacida character started showing up, I think only someone like Carlota, Cantharella, maybe Brand should show up. Rocha had no business being there. Chacona had no business being there. Like, y'all are weak. Like, Augusta is probably worth like 5 of you combined. So yeah, you know, power scaling is a thing. We all know in anime, one character being so powerful just makes the other characters being present in the battle completely irrelevant. Like, this isn't Dragon Ball where you know the characters are washed. They're still gonna rush the character and not do anything. Like, they just avoided doing that as a concept. I hope I'm making some sense. So watch this. Just watch this, Chad. Just watch this. All right, so he powers up, hits him in the back of the head, and then he's just rushing him, teleporting around. Oh no, don't hurt him, bro. Oh, stop. Stop hurting him. Oh my God. Stop it. This is the true sad part. We had Super Saiyan Trunks doing this. Look at this. Look at this. This, in my opinion, this is what would have happened if we were to see what was happening during the war with Rocha and Chacona against the final boss, against the Fleur de Lis. If it was just the two of them, this is what would have happened. And we all know it. So I think in order to avoid this, because I think Luke is more powerful than Linné. I think we can all safely say that. Luke is pretty strong. If the monster is going to be on Luke Herson's power scale, unfortunately, Linné just becomes like Krillin and Trunks here, looks completely stupid. We can't have that. So yeah, they went the route of just not showing certain characters. This is like a positive. Like, I'm being optimistic here, of course. Obviously, the main takeaway a lot of people are going to have is, oh, well, they're just obviously trying to advertise this banner character more, so that way they're just keeping them on screen the most for max effect.
I refuse to believe all of them needed to help the students or were busy suddenly. And even if two of the teachers were busy, at least one of them should have helped us to get rid of the worm. I might be crazy, but I think the priority should have been to defend the students, right? We also have characters.
I think Lucilla could have showed up here, in my opinion. I think Lucilla is like someone in the same level of power as Linné. She could have showed up. It would have been nice. And also, especially, you know what? Thinking about it, this makes even more sense. Lucilla is supposed to be this overprotective teacher. Like, she really cares about the student, and she has PTSD from students having to deal with problems and then losing the students. It would have made total freaking sense for Lucilla to be here, especially. Like, hello?
Like Sigurika in the school, which, like, okay, she might have been told to evacuate or something. The same with Denya, I guess. But the point is that it doesn't really make sense for all the powerful characters to suddenly be like, nah, you got this, and let us deal with it.
There it is. She even showed Lucilla too, based.
Sense for all the powerful characters to suddenly be like, nah, you.
Yeah, there it is. She even showed Lucilla too. Freaking based.
And let us deal with it and not help in any way. Then we go to the second part of 3.0 story, Morny story quest. Do you remember this one Roya dude? Our conversation with him literally went like, Rover, allow me to do it. Allow me to continue the calculations alone. Okay, Shaper, I allow it. Thanks, now the universe is saved. And I'm sitting here confused like, what? The story wants me to believe he's someone important while the whole time we're
Bro farmed so much aura and he just vanished into oblivion. Like, we never seen this guy again. I think they were maybe planning for him to be a playable character, but then they just dropped him. Maybe like the shorekeeper. Because this screams to me playable.
focused on Morny and Rover interactions. Blood, I have no idea what I've just done. Why was it important? Who is Shaper? Because the story
It felt like a subplot that wasn't expanded on. I think she makes a good point here. I totally forgot about that. That was such a subplot. It was supposed to be the start of a subplot. They didn't expand on it. Maybe it's because they didn't know what to do with Sugrika, so they didn't want the Shaper to mock Sugrika, I'm guessing. Not a marketable wife. Ain't that the truth? They looked at Luke Hurst and they was like, all right, that's enough. That's enough dude energy for these 5 versions. We can't have the Shaper will just... That's a lot.
And I like Morny, I pulled for her. But I can't take the story seriously when we're focused more on her relationship with us than some world-saving event, I assume. Oh, and guess what? Linné, Chisa, and anyone else did nothing. They all been sidelined. Again. In my opinion, Sigurika should have played some part in the story, since she's also part of the Roya and also the Heliotic Six, which the Shaper is also from.
Yeah.
I mean, she's supposed to be successor to one of the Heliotic Six.
Yeah.
Imagine if she, for example...
That's why they dropped the Shaper. They was like, whoa. Don't do that. Just let it all be about Sugrika. What could happen was, I wouldn't be surprised, is obviously they're going to follow a similar trend of kind of like we went back to Jinzhou to go to Mengzhou now. We're probably going to go back to maybe Arena Sita or Septimon to go to an even newer version. Maybe Arena Sita. Arena Sita would make the most sense. And also Lahai-Roi. There's a good chance we might go back to Lahai-Roi and something will happen. And maybe that's when the Shaper might show up again. That could happen. It's obviously me coping because I just want to see where this subplot goes. Because I feel like they introduced something this important and then they just vanish.
She's the successor to the Heliotic 6, and we also never really got to explore their dynamics. This story had around 2 hours and 15 minutes, and only 20 of those were spent interacting with the Heliotic 6 member. And now we're gonna talk about one of my biggest hot takes, I fear. I felt nothing while playing AMF Story Quest.
That is. Ooh, chat. She ain't messing around. Sacrilege, chat, sacrilege. Oh, this explains this dislike ratio over here. This explains the 20%. That explains, maybe it's even 30%. Oh, you're not gonna agree with the general consensus? You're gonna dare to say you have your own taste? Oh, you're playing with fire there, girly girl. I don't know how they do things where you're from, but over here on these gacha streets, you gotta have a decent degree of agreeing with certain things in the general consensus, I'm just saying.
I wasn't really sad that she died. I wasn't really mad about it neither.
The reason why I wasn't sad is because I knew she was gonna come back. Ting Yun ruined it for everybody. Honkai Star Rail's Ting Yun just ruined it for everybody. And we all know it. This is the results of Ting Yun. Ting Yun, to me, ruined Amieth. The moment they brought back Ting Yun, I knew death is just, for playable characters, it's just not gonna happen. It's just not happening. And Robin, yeah, that's it. I knew Amieth was gonna come back. Oh my, don't even get me started on Frolova, dude. I was gonna crash out. That pissed me off so much. But then I was like left in limbo because I was like, okay, in 3.5, I didn't fully understand that she was, I thought it was a phantom or something. So I was like, okay, maybe she's just like, we put Frolova to rest. What a sad ending. And then she shows up in the story again. And I see people online were talking about at the time that she's actually still alive. And I'm like, no, she's not. Anyway. And then she shows up in the story again. I'm like, okay, that's it. No, this is stupid. Amieth was the same there. And that's why it didn't have as much impact. But it's still, you know what? It's kind of like this.
I mean, I ain't gonna cry because that's gay, but it is real sad.
Was is bored. Which, yeah, we could say that is because at the back of my head I knew that she will be back. But I also felt nothing will...
There it is. It's like, it's super obvious.
We brought her back, so that's not it. Maybe it's because I had quite a big expectations on this story since I saw people hyping it up on Twitter before playing it for myself.
Yeah.
But I just can't bring myself to care about someone we saw once before. The story wants me to believe I care, but let's be honest, I met this person for the first time today. And the same day before 3.1 we knew nothing about her. And while I am really happy that others...
Well, that's kind of the negatives of gacha games. These characters didn't really exist at the time. And then they just get inserted in the story somehow. It's kind of a bit of the negative. Yeah, it's gonna be a thing. Like for them to establish... It's like the only character that I feel like can deliver on what she wants. I think this can only apply to Geshu Lin. Besides Geshu Lin, I don't think you can have what you just said right now. It's just tough.
Enjoyed it. I was just disappointed that the story was pushing ideals of us caring about
Damn.
our long lost daughter instead of either making it not her goodbye patch and just taking her off like 2 patches later so we could grow attached to her.
Aww.
Or just maybe introducing her faster in 3.0 as help during the worm fights, defending us against some attack, but turns out no one can see her, and we leave on a bit of cliffhanger about her. And maybe after that she guided Solskin with the message meant for us from the Shaper so we could have time to process that. Yeah, we like this character. This alt just felt so rushed in order to sell the character as much as they could during her release banner, which in the end downgraded the story experience for me.
Yeah, I see her point. I guess I'm just not too picky. That's why like it still works for me, but yeah, I can see it.
3.1 story focused on Luke and gave us the big Grand Architect reveal. The whole fight sequence looked really good actually. At least when I first saw it. Okay, I will say it since no one else wants to.
What?
Grand Architect is a fraud! He not only misses a shot, but also got headshotted by a human.
She's totally right. I didn't even pay attention. Yeah, bro is ass. Bro have no hands. True. Bro got no hands. True. Think about that. This is an aura loss. Look at you getting called out and shit. So you're all brain and stuff, but you obviously ain't hot shit in the streets. That's for sure. You're supposed to be the Grand Architect. You're supposed to have hella hands.
Sentinel Resonator, not a sentinel, a human. And yeah, it won't kill him, so no one cares. I do care. He lost so much aura, and you telling me...
There it is. She knows. We all know it. Dude, this is a nice call out. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't pay attention to some of this stuff. True.
This is the person I should be scared of? Also, this climb.
Yeah, I am not. I'm not scared of bro. No.
Oh, scary! Shiver my timbers! Shut up, man!
The oral loss was generational.
House before shooting Luke with his like fingers. Why doesn't he just kill him? On one hand, he's saying something like, let's play a game, but it's mostly to Rover, but he also tries to shoot Luke just a second before, and I hear something
Yeah, that was weird.
he was just confirming the kill on the dude that was laying on the ground, but he couldn't be sure that Luke will dodge in time, so he did not care if Luke survived or not. And since characters from gacha game rarely die, Luke should at least be badly injured with such a close fight with one of the most powerful enemies in the whole game. They kinda fixed this in—
Well, this just means Luke is him. She's nitpicking. She's showing you the moments that were eyebrow raising. Of course, that's gonna come off as nitpicking because not all moments are bad. Like some moments just don't make much sense, which these, to be fair, they don't make much sense. But when you think about it from a gacha to anime perspective, some make sense, some don't make sense. Like the architect. The architect was already cooked by Galbarena. Now, in his defense, Galbarena is her. We all know it. Galbarena farms hella aura. Galbarena is like someone that just lives in hell and has an entity, probably Satan. It's like, dude, Galbarena is like up there in the tier list of power scaling. Galbarena deserves that. Luke isn't really up there next to Galbarena. He's somewhere in the middle. He's a respectable unit, powerful enough, but he's not Galbarena level. Because Galbarena was in the forefront dealing with the fucking Threnodian in Renacita. That's like highest power scaling in wuwa right now.
intimidation value with Denya's story later on, which I appreciate. But Luke shouldn't go unscathed if the story wants me to believe what they are saying, that oh, Grand Architect is powerful, oh, be scared of him. He was a fraud, he did shit in that fight. Okay, I am going to stop with every single quest one by one, because it's gonna just take too much time. Instead, I will simply ramble about some problems I had with the story, without any specific order. Rover in Sigirica's quest cosplayed her best friend for life when Denya could have easily played that role there, or at least play somewhat more important role, to highlight their friendship and all. Before Denya's quest, which was awesome by the way. But it would have hit even more if we actually could see them interacting a bit more before it. Sigirika, Chisa and Lene as a trio is also not very believable to me. We can see them interacting as friends already when we never see how their friendship started. That's also part of why I wanted Chisa and Lene.
Well, they're playable characters. That's how their friendship started. Am I crazy for that one, chat? Also, this pause frame is crazy. That's literally my face responding to why they became friends. Yeah, they're the playable units. They have to be friends. Duh. Duh.
To interact in 3.0 story. Sigirica's friend being Grand Architect was also very overlooked. We got info from Grand Architect that one person at school was a spy, and we didn't really take a look at their two school friends, Denya and Sigirika. Them adults in this whole school are incompetent. Coming back to Sigirica's friendship, she mentions only once that, I wonder where my friend is, where they disappeared without any notice. And maybe it's just me, but if my friend disappeared randomly without saying anything, I would be more concerned. And I think—
Well, maybe they're not friends like that. That's kind of the problem with society nowadays. You think you're cool with someone, but then you may not talk to them for like months, if not years, and they're like, okay, cool. Because you're not really friends like that. You're just good acquaintances. That's it. Like, not everybody cares about you like that, where they're like, where are they at? You know, they're concerned about you and stuff. Nah. Welcome to society.
Should have played a bigger part in her character growth and story. Mild take? I think Sigirika at the end of Lahai-Roi's story should have learned about Nivora and Denya true identities. I think she also should have been the one to go after Denya with us and Hiyuki. Like, sneak with us or something. Cause not gonna lie,
That's not bad, true.
But she looks like a big red flag, not caring about two of her best friends disappearing.
Yeah, she's a little too carefree. And this is the problem also with having too much friends, because Sigirica's friends with pretty much everybody. It's when everybody's special, no one is. And since she has, that's a lot of people, and she can't care about them that much, she can't handle that. Yeah, I think Sigirica is actually a pretty good character, especially to look at in a social setting way, where you will notice that sometimes having too much and doing too much can leave you with so little, especially the important things in life.
Meanwhile, yeah, I can understand that she knew something was up with Denya. Like, she's supposed to be pretty perceptive, so that's fine, but it still doesn't really change not caring about the other one, Nivor.
The reason why she cared about Denya is because Denya requires support characters that are as cheery as Sigrika to make her work, considering the traumatic experience Denya goes through. Because she's left in the end as a broken person, and only someone like Sigrika that's willing to pour that much effort onto someone can work with a character like that. It's kind of like the cool character that doesn't want to talk too much, etc. They typically are accompanied by a character that's too cheery and is willing to take their disrespect as like a ha-ha hee-hee. There it is. It's kind of something like that.
And I think after Denya's disappearance, Sigrika never mentions once Denya anymore. Or at least I don't remember it. Maybe I'm delusional, but, you know. And I really wish they develop relationships between characters much more, because they all feel bland. Sigrika and Denya is still one of the cutest romance friendships in the story.
Ooh. Lesbomancy. My favorite type of magic.
But the rest of the cast feels like they don't know each other.
I wonder why.
And sometimes just cosplay as friends.
Yes. And that's the reality of a lot of people you meet, even in real life. This is kind of what real life works as. I know. Shocking, right? This is actually as accurate of IRL as I've ever seen.
What's the relationship between Morny and Lucilla?
It's a professional relationship. If you see people at the job, you're gonna think they're the best of friends. Outside of the job, they don't even talk to each other. This is just another example of that. Professionalism.
Two teachers. Luke and Morny, another teachers duo that we got.
Yeah, they just work on the same building. See, these two, they just work on the same building. Luke works in the infirmary. She works over there. They know each other. They're cordially, professionally speaking, and that's it. Just like life. Just like society, like we see.
Like I said, the trio of Linnea, Chisa, and Sigrika should have been more developed than, yeah, they're friends. How they bonded, when they bonded. Why can't we get to see that?
Well, they all have a point in common, which is they all have a crush on me, the rover. So that's enough common ground for them to be friends, don't you think? My milkshake brings the girls to the yard. Now I'm getting jumped. Yeah. I mean, hey, look, don't you just require common ground for people to become friends? So, I mean, so shouldn't they be mortal enemies then? Okay, well, see, that happens only in anime, but not in gacha games. In gacha games, things are a little different. In gacha games, all these girls don't give a damn. Let's not sit here and pretend Soy Soy didn't hit on Rover, knowing that her sister has the biggest crush on the dude. Like, let's not even talk about that. Like, let's not even, dude, the disrespect. I was just looking at Soy Soy like, God damn.
What a bitch! What a nasty, vile fucking cunt!
That was me, man. That was me. I looked at Soy Soy like, we need to roll that clip every time Soy Soy shows on screen, man. Like, you moving on your man, on your sister's man? You moving in on him? Like, god damn!
The story focused more on the characters instead of the main plot anyway. Hyuki and Chisa would have also been interesting, but Hyuki only...
I'm with life lessons on this one. They should have had a daughter-mother relationship. Look at them. Man, that would have been so good. And maybe she could have been like the daughter she had to protect, because I think the priestesses aren't allowed to have daughters and had to protect you and stuff like that. That's why you were in that dimension and stuff. And they could just expanded on that. And that would have been so cool, dude. But they just couldn't do it. You know what? Something just dawned on me. Why the hell don't we have... I think the only parent character I know of is in Genshin Impact's Alice to Klee. Besides that... What the hell? Why don't we have more parent-children relationships in the gachas? Because I think this would have been a good dynamic, if you ask me.
interacts with us, Lucilla, and kind of Denya. And I'm just here asking, why? Why can't we get to see them interacting? Is Rover that possessive? I think this kind of got better with Lucilla's story when we got to see Alto's interaction with her. Also some bits and pieces.
Shouts out to my ninja Alto, man. When Alto showed up here, a 4-star was mogging all the 5-star baddies. A 4-star male character was mogging all the 5-star baddies, dude. Like, it was just something. It was something about this scene. And you wanna know what's crazy, man? Bro was there, like, acting like, you know... Oh my god, these girls are like going, they're being so kind and they're doing all this research stuff. And I'm just there like, bitch, why are you sitting there acting like you're a 6-star? Sit your little ass down with that attitude. You better behave, boy. You better behave with your 4-star ass. I was just there like, bro's mogging them as a 4-star. As a 4-star, You're farming aura off them as a 4-star. Oh man. Oh, that was something, man. That was something. W Alto, man. I think this is by far the most Giga Chad in the entire game, dude. Just out of this scene.
Other characters, but this was far too little and far too late for me to really enjoy the Lahai-Roi story. And let's be honest, the story went through loops after that to make us go on 1v1 story through memory lane with Lucilla. And I am just so tired of it when it feels like they do it every single time with every single character. And after those like story quests, the characters are treated as an afterthought. I think Daniel—
Oh, that's just welcome to Gacha. Yeah. Sadly, because it's all about selling characters. Due to this, they cannot necessarily maintain a cast. The only one that I feel like did a great job at this is Honkai Star Rail with the cast of the Express. Because you always see Da Hung, you always see Himeko, you always see Welt, you always see Marsh. They're always present. Those are the recurring casts. I like that. I think that was genius.
And please don't twist my words, I think Wuwa has incredible writing when it comes to the individual characters.
Yeah.
I cried during Daniel's story. You got me, I cried reading that. But the lack of interactions between characters and constant 1v1 dates with Rover makes it fall flat. If I can't believe the character is real, quote-unquote, then it's hard.
It feels like this is not really a wuwa Lahai-Roi problem. This is a gacha problem. Especially Genshin-inspired stories problem, to be very specific. Am I crazy for that one? Because it feels like we're just singling out Lahai-Roi here, but this is not really unique to Lahai-Roi, because I think you can expand this to pretty much everything that's like Genshin Impact. You capping with Genshin on that one? What do you mean? Dude, like, are you gonna tell me like Genshin has recurring characters like Honkai Star Rail? Are you— what? No, it's a modern gacha problem with self-insert characters. Exactly. But at least for freaking Honkai Star Rail, NTE, ZZZ to a decent extent, there's a recurring cast of characters, and I think that's appreciated. It kind of breaks this mold. At least in Not Cry, Genshin is pretty good with cameos. So it took 6 years. Congratulations. Because that wasn't around when wuwa was released. So like they were still using the same problem that Genshin was known for. And Genshin had to sit down and actually fix it in Not Cry. So that way you guys can say this now. But for the most part, for the longest time, for years, literal years, this was the status quo.
The dev team can write an amazing stories, but most of the one we gotten in Lahai-Roi should have been story quests, which they refuse to do. I also heard that the new story is pretty good, but I can neither deny it nor confirm it, since I haven't really finished it yet. Yeah, I am so slow about it. I should finish it though at the time of this video release, and
that would be the animated series. True! That actually might be the animated series. Yeah, and they can just establish the next region through something that happens in their own region, and it keeps going from there. I think that's kind of how stories are done, and it's beautiful. We like it.
And the next thing I want to focus on will be the exploration and map. One of the more significant things Kura decided to change was for means of transport. Since 2.0 we had available—
Oh, I loved how they decided to say, oh, you're not going to fly anymore, only to bring it back later. You couldn't live with your own failure. Where does that bring you? Back to me. That's flight talking.
Flight, which they even extended to older parts of the map, but in 3.0 they decided to delete the flight and instead gave us bikes. Which, to be honest, I never really minded. It made the exploration a bit less convenient, and I saw quite a few people complaining about it, but later they also gave bikes.
The reason why I think that was a complaint is because we got used to flights. Shouldn't have made it so motherfucking good. And I think that was the main issue, where a lot of people felt like the bike was a downgrade because of the lack of mobility and just how much freedom it gives you in exploration. But I told myself, you know what, there's good to this too. I used the bike and I just decided to like tell myself, flight never existed. Flight never existed. Have some fun with this. I enjoyed the bike. Yeah, it's just a matter of mindset. I worked on my mindset and how I went about approaching the game. The bike worked out for me. But you will notice it requires mental gymnastics for you to make yourself appreciate the bike. Yeah, to once again show, you shouldn't have never made flight in the first place. Shouldn't have made flight so motherfucking good.
Well, at least the bikes are pretty, I guess. I just kinda wish their animations were a bit faster. The map was also relatively big, which on itself is a pretty good thing, but it feels very bland. There are massive parts of it in which there is just like nothing, maybe except Uejos. And you could argue that it was supposed to sell the idea of post-apocalyptic vibe of this game.
Yeah.
And well, it does look deserted. But deserted terrain
Well, that's the problem with open world games. Now we're entering a open world game territory, which again, it feels nitpicky to just point it out. Adjust Wuthering waves. A lot of open world games suffer from this issue, unfortunately.
doesn't have to look bland. We have terrains like Sangus Plateus, Norfal Barrens, or to some extent even Mount Firmament in the game. And while all of those places are deserted, they also look very interesting. Will the ones from Lahai-Roi look lacking, unfinished maybe in some areas? I like Dimir Plains though. At least the designs were amazing as always. If I was really nitpicking, I could say that they don't look like they were made for the post-apocalyptic world that this game is presenting herself as, but none of us care that much.
Hey, just because the world is desolated doesn't mean I have to look like the world I'm around. I'm looking flashy.
Lahai-Roi is pretty well off, so I
I'm looking cute and stuff.
Walking Dead looking outfits. And as a words of ending, I do like Wuthering waves!
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, man. The disclaimer, man. The disclaimer. The kudu bat shield. Kudu bat shield, man. You gotta keep that shield up. Oh, man.
Usually any critique of the game makes people mad, so I just wanted to make that clear.
Oh, she's adorable. You're sweating too hard there. It's fine. It's fine. Look, kudu bats don't like me. They don't like a lot of people. It's totally fine. It's fine. What you can do, however, is just try to expand your horizon and recognize that sometimes what you see is an issue in one particular game isn't necessarily limited to that one particular game, and also sometimes stems from a whole other game it drew inspiration from, which is what we're seeing here.
The combat, the graphics, Denia, Jinshi, are amazing. But I just can't say the same about Lahai-Roi.
She called it the new Genshin. Wait.
The game makes people mad, so I just wanted to make that clear. The combat, the graphics, Denia, Jinshi.
The subtitle says the new Genshin. The subtitles are lying. I think the subtitles are lying. Hold on.
But the graphics, Denia, Jinshi.
I think it translated it. Because I think she said it in a different language. I don't even know what she said.
Are amazing.
And also the fact that she showed like fire.
Denia, Jinshi.
See? Like demon. She did like a demon with fire. Like she poked fun. I think she said new Genshin, chat. She knows what she did. She knows what she did. She knows. Jungi. Wait, is that you in chat? I was talking to you all this time. That's still not how to say my name. That was you. That's her, chat. God damn. Who else? I didn't recognize. My apologies. My apologies. They do call me grandpa for a reason. You know what I'm saying? This is just another example of that. Just make sure this didn't... Okay, this didn't happen, chat. Never happened.
You weren't here. Or the 20th of August 2026 between 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. never happened. You will never remember what happened.
But I just can't say the same about Lahai-Roi. And I also just couldn't hold it in me anymore. On another note, if you liked the video, consider liking and subscribing to
Oh, hell yeah.
another of my content. And when you're there, you can let me know if you liked Lahai-Roi. Why or why not? But that will be all for today. Have a nice day, everyone!
Oh, she's cheery. I like that. So yeah, there it is, man. I think Lahai-Roi was okay. Like an 8 out of 10 okay. That's what I think. I enjoyed it more than I did not enjoy it. I think it was great. You know what? I'm gonna make that bitch 9 because god damn it, we fought as Gundams in space. I don't know why we didn't talk about that. Hey, yo, Junji, why the hell aren't we talking about the fact that we're in space fighting as Gundams? What about that? What happened? So we're just gonna ignore the fact that we're fighting as a badass Gundam in space, in the moon. Tomato, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. You're not gonna appreciate what I'm about to say. I'm gonna ruffle some feathers with this one, but you were too woman for that type of content. You just couldn't fathom the badassery that was that part of the story. You just couldn't. Gundam was mid. My man, Marine, you think that was mid? Oh, hell no. What? That was the shit. What are we talking about? I ain't letting none of y'all disrespect the Gundam fight. Ain't none of y'all disrespecting that damn Gundam fight. That was it. We were doing gajillions of damage. That was super good. The only problem was it didn't last longer. I'm saying. By the way, that's what she said.
Pause.
All right, Yoongi. Good to meet you, Yoongi. Again, nice video. We appreciate you. I think all in all, again, I feel like expanding the horizon is probably something that I think that is very important as we go about topics like these. But I feel like Lahai-Roi was definitely a necessary step for Wuthering Waves to be even better, because I don't know about you, but after that, especially like the first parts of 3.0, I feel like the story really picked up well, and now we see that as well again in the Mengzhou. I think we're eating good. That's kind of the beauty of Wuthering Waves and Kuro games. I feel like they learn from their mistakes, go from there, and really that's what more can you ask for nowadays, am I right? Nothing is perfect, no one is perfect, everybody's gonna make mistakes, and what we expect and what we desire out of people that make mistakes is of course to learn from them and become even better. Really, I think that's not a, it's quite a big ass nowadays, unfortunately, believe it or not. So yeah, that's me. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Like, subscribe if you haven't already. Peace.